Graceland auction. A legacy tarnished? Graceland, not just a home but a legacy, now tangled in a web of deception. Yeah, you heard that right. The King's Castle, the place where every Elvis fan dreams of making a pilgrimage, caught up in a scandal bigger than a rhinestone jumpsuit. An auction, meant to celebrate Elvis, backfired faster than a hound dog chasing a Cadillac. It all started innocently enough, or so we thought. Auction House Gotta Have It Collectibles announced a sale featuring items from Elvis's personal life. We're talking jumpsuits, handwritten lyrics, maybe even a spare pair of blue suede shoes. Fans went wild, collectors salivated, and the media went into a frenzy. But then, things got a little fishy. Whispers of fake items started circulating like a bad karaoke version of Suspicious Minds. Experts raised eyebrows. Collectors started demanding answers. This wasn't your average eBay dispute, this was Elvis we were talking about. The auction house, of course, denied any wrongdoing. They claimed authenticity, but the more they explained, the more it felt like a dodgy Elvis impersonator trying to convince you he's the real deal. Something just wasn't right. The King, known for his generosity, wouldn't have wanted his fans to be swindled. Now, I'm not a detective, but even I could smell something funky going on. The items themselves, while seemingly impressive, had gaps in their provenance. It's like saying you have Elvis's guitar but you can't remember where you got it. That's gonna raise a few eyebrows, right? Then came the witnesses. Former employees, collectors, even some distant relatives of the King himself, started crawling out of the woodwork. They shared stories of forgeries, switched items, and shady dealings that would make even a seasoned pawnbroker blush. It was like a bad Elvis movie plot, but unfortunately, this was real life. The alleged mastermind behind this scheme? Well, that's where the story gets juicy. Rumors pointed to a shadowy figure, a collector with a notorious reputation for acquiring Elvis memorabilia by any means necessary. This guy was like the villain in an Elvis comic book, complete with slicked back hair and a love for gaudy jewelry. As the evidence mounted, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about money, it was about exploiting a legacy. Elvis, the man who brought rock and roll to the world, was being used to line the pockets of some unscrupulous characters. And that, my friends, is a heartbreak hotel no fan should have to check into. You know you've messed up when the FBI gets involved. And believe me, when it comes to messing with American icons, they don't mess around. We're talking about the same folks who investigate organized crime and cyber terrorism, now hot on the trail of some forged Elvis memorabilia. The feds, with their dark suits and even darker sunglasses, descended upon Graceland. They seized documents, interviewed witnesses, and probably dusted Elvis's blue suede shoes for fingerprints, just in case. The message was clear. Nobody messes with the King, not on their watch. The media, of course, had a field day. Headlines screamed about the Graceland Gate scandal. Cable news channels ran 24/7 coverage, complete with dramatic reenactments and talking heads debating the authenticity of a rhinestone-studded belt buckle. It was like Elvis had risen from the dead, only to find himself on a reality TV show. The investigation is ongoing, but one thing's for sure. This whole mess has tarnished the legacy of Elvis Presley. It's a reminder that even in death the King can't escape the clutches of greed and deception. And that's a tragedy bigger than a peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwich. Imagine saving up for years to buy a piece of your idol's history, only to discover it's a fake. That's the gut punch Elvis fans were dealt with this whole Graceland auction debacle. From diehards who could recite every lyric to casual listeners who still tap their feet to jailhouse rock, everyone felt betrayed. Online forums buzzed with anger and disappointment. Fan clubs organized protests, demanding justice for the King. It was like a scene straight out of a movie, with fans holding signs that read, "Elvis deserves better" and "Jailhouse Rock the frauds." This wasn't just about some trinkets. It was about a connection to a legend. For many fans, Elvis represented a simpler time, a time of good music, good times, and good old-fashioned rock and roll. To see his memory dragged through the mud like this was heartbreaking, to say the least. The scandal also raised questions about the ethics of the memorabilia industry. How could something like this happen? Who's responsible for ensuring the authenticity of these items? And most importantly, how can fans be protected from falling victim to such scams? These are tough questions, with no easy answers. So, what happens now? The Graceland auction scandal has left a sour taste in the mouths of Elvis fans worldwide. It's a stark reminder that even the most beloved icons are not immune to exploitation and deceit. The King may be gone, but his legacy is very much alive, and it's up to us, the fans, to protect it. The FBI investigation is still underway, and hopefully those responsible will be held accountable. But the damage has been done. The trust between fans, collectors, and the institutions that profit from Elvis's legacy has been shaken. It's like finding out your favorite uncle wasn't who you thought he was. Moving forward, there needs to be greater transparency and accountability in the world of celebrity memorabilia. Authentication processes need to be stricter. Fan education is crucial to prevent future scams. And maybe, just maybe, we need to rethink our obsession with owning a piece of the past, especially when it comes at such a high cost. Elvis once sang, "Truth is like the sun, you can shut it out for a time, but it's gonna shine." The truth about the Graceland auction scandal has come to light, exposing a web of deceit that has shocked and saddened fans worldwide. Now it's time to pick up the pieces, learn from this experience, and ensure that the King's legacy is protected for generations to come.